Hey everybody, Roller here, and 3.27 is very close. So I wanted to do a quick video showcasing the different builds that I can currently recommend for 3.27 starters. Some of them could be kinda obvious, some of them could be more unusual. Let's go and I will be able to show all of them and talk a little more about upsides for each. And the first build we're going to talk about is Poison SRS Necromancer. Poison SRS is staying almost the same for a very long time. The build being very stable at a lot of different levels, and it can scale pretty easily into the endgame. It has a very smooth campaign, and that's one of the minion builds that are still playable and still very comfortable at all levels. Raging Spirits by themselves are very aggressive, they're always going to focus enemies properly, they're also pretty fast in general, the damage is nice, and Poison is also easy to scale. I believe that minions are not that popular at the moment, so the build also should be pretty cheap because you can run it on a very average gear. It also could be pretty tanky as well, since as a Necromancer you can focus a lot on defenses. That making Poison SRS one of the perfect choices for people who enjoy minions or just too new and don't want to manage too many things at the same time. The only downside is probably that you need to recast summon Raging Spirit all the time, so it could feel a little like a caster build at the moment and you can't go fully AFK while playing minions. And the second build is Shockwave Cyclone. Cyclone been buffed in that league, so in 3.27 it's going to deal 20% more damage. It's also pretty easy to scale, and when you have General Scry together with Cyclone, together with Shockwave, and with Impale damage on top, it can deal a pretty decent damage too. You can also have a very comfortable gameplay just spinning around the screen together with a pretty decent AoE, which is very good against one of the main mechanics in 3.27, which is Breach. Together with all the bonuses, Cyclone should scale pretty nice at the league start and should be very good to farm the Breach mechanic, which we can all want to be good and profitable in the end. Cyclone is also one of the fans' favorites for a pretty long time, and I'm pretty happy to see it even better than before in 3.27. And the next build is Exsanguinate and Reap Miner. That build is one of the best bossiers that we currently have in the list, because mines in general providing a very comfortable bossing gameplay when you just need to prepare it, put your mines and pretty much destroy bosses without a single issue. And Exsanguinate is a very good mapping skill. All of that together making Exsanguinate, Reap Miner a very comfortable build overall. And even if Trickster Ascendancy being nerfed, Trickster is still one of the best options for most of the mine skills like that, because it can provide a pretty decent bonuses. The only downside for mines at the moment is less survivability and less tankiness in general compared to other options. And on top of it, mine gameplay could be not for everybody, so if you're enjoying it and it's your cup of tea, you should definitely try it. And the next build is Earthshatter Berserker. At the moment, Earthshatter Berserker is one of the best melee builds, mostly because it's combining very comfortable leveling with Thunder at the start, with pretty nice damage in the endgame with Earthshatter, which is scaling tremendously at the moment. Berserker is also in a much better position than 2 leagues before, because after some changes in 3.26, it became much more popular. Earthshatter Berserker right now is pretty much spiritual successor of the Fisher build from 3.26. The only downside for it would be strange part of the gameplay when you're playing slams, so a little less speed and it could feel uncomfortable for some people. However, I definitely enjoy slams myself and can recommend that. The build is also very tanky and playable on hardcore, so could be recommended for people who's looking for hardcore or hardcore solo self-found builds. Next on the list is Creed Blade Vortex Elementalist, based on cold damage. That build is a little too melee for some people, but it's still very comfortable, mostly because it can get very nice speed. You can practically run through your maps without bothering a lot and just need to recast the blades. It kinda reminds about the Cyclone, but AoE is less, but as an upside you have a lot of cool bonuses from Elementalist with golems, and you can also freeze your enemies. And in that case, it could be comfortable for some in terms of freeze as a layer of defense. And the next option is Manaforged Deadeye based on bows. So it's practically tornado shot and lightning arrows stuck together. That build is pretty good for leveling because even Wonder builds are probably going to level with bows. It can also scale to the endgame if you can survive the squishiness, because bows still have some particular AoE. At the moment, I still think it could be alright to play that build and probably swap to something else a little later. And the next option is one of the fan favorites from past leaks as well, Arc. Right now, it's Ignite Elementalist. Ignite Arc is a pretty decent option, mostly because of the nice clear that Arc provides. You're hitting so many enemies at the same time. You can also get a very nice damage just from Ignite and combine it with a very decent tankiness, because you can run stuff like Aegis Aurora and get together like block and decent amount of energy shield. All of that is also possible even on lower budget, and the whole setup of Ignite Arc right now providing both damage and survivability. I think it's one of the most decent spellcasters, which is pretty easy to set up at the moment. And the next pick is Smite Slayer. Smite Slayer being a very popular option at 3.26. In 3.27, I think some things are changed, but if you're going to use a Dorianis prototype, you can get both tankiness and a very decent damage. Smite is still amazing skill because you can hit the enemy twice if you're having a proper position with that. It can also have a pretty decent clear and hitting enemies from a decent range too. If you're going to use a Divine Judgment on top of it, your range is going to be even better. Together with all the changes, I'm absolutely sure that Smite will be pretty nice. You can league start it with running Poisonous Concoction, for example, or just play Smite from level 1 if you want it, and you will be able to avoid all the repicks based on that. And the next thing is Poisonous Concoction Pathfinder. With that build, you can have a very smooth leveling experience. It could be used to level Smite Slayer, it could be used to level a set of other builds because Poisonous Concoction is working pretty good with it. If you're going to play it at Pathfinder, later on you can just swap to Mamba, which is currently looking pretty good. The build can be both tanky and have a very decent damage. And Concoction itself right now should provide a very nice leveling experience in general, especially because it has decent amount of AoE and very nice damage. And if you're starting at Pathfinder, you also could be pretty fast because you're going to get like flask charges and you can utilize it to run through campaign significantly faster. And the last build that I want to showcase is Crit Rolling Magma Saboteur. That build showcasing very big damage, even on a budget, and being pretty popular in 3.26. So right now, after all the changes, Rolling Magma is still looking pretty decent, especially in terms of damage. It also could be played on hardcore without a lot of issues, because the build itself scaling defense is pretty nice as well. Maybe Saboteur is not that popular as the Ascendancy, however you can always repick to Trickster and try some other build later on. But as a starter, Rolling Magma can provide very decent gameplay and very comfortable setups on almost all levels up to the tier 16 maps. And if you want to push it, there's also a proper endgame version, because build is scaling pretty nice. So you can play it up until you finish all the content without a lot of issues. So that's been my set of 10 builds for 3.27. I think most of them been done by amazing creators, and I can definitely recommend most of those guides. I'm sure if you're going to pick some of them, you're going to have a very good time. Just make sure that build is literally working with your playstyle. Thank you very much for watching, and see you at the league start. Ronray out.